Welcome back to Edgework here on the Hammer Betting Network, a daily live NHL show, Monday through Friday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Today is Friday, April 21st, the final day of this week for our Edgework shows, wrapping up what was the first week of the NHL playoffs. Some pretty exciting stuff. There's been a ton of storylines, a bunch of back and forths within each of the series, so we'll recap some of the games last night. We will prep you with games tonight, give our best bets, as well as look ahead to Saturday's games based on the fact that we won't have a show tomorrow. So we'll give a little bit of a lead into some of those and give you guys some insights in what we think will happen in game 3 of each of those series. But Moretto, is there anything that stood out to you from last night that was like a big thing that you wanted to get into here today? I was interested because obviously I was telling you I was watching the Leafs game, so I didn't see much of what happened in the Devils-Rangers game, but the Rangers jump up 2-0 series lead. You win both games 5-1 there. I know Todd's in the chat, so
yeah, maybe you should tune out for like 3 minutes. Just come back soon.
Not trying to throw a dagger in Todd, but what's going on with the Devils? What happened? Why are they down 2 games and losing both 5-1?
Yeah, like I kind of raised these concerns in the series preview, just like the intangible stuff. Right, you got the experience and the size and the grit factor and all that sort of stuff that people love to push aside and say it doesn't really matter. But like the truth is, it does matter. This was a business trip for the Rangers. Like they came in, it was as easy as could be. It was very professional performances from them. The Devils just they look like they are a team that has no clue how to play playoff hockey. Right? Like things tighten up a little bit. You need to work harder for your chances. You got to get into those greasy areas, force your way into the slot, fight for your space. Like they've just been completely unprepared to do so. The Rangers have showed that commitment to playing a good structured defensive game. They've even been outplaying the Devils at 5-on-5, generating more offense, which is that's one thing I didn't expect. I was worried about the Devils, but I wasn't they're going to have their chances. It was more like the Rangers are going to win the series, power play will be lights out, which it has been. And then Shesterkin will, do enough on his, his side of things to take care of it. And yeah, it hasn't been like that at all. It's been just completely one-way traffic. I'd be shocked. Not shocked, but I would be surprised if this didn't end in 4. Honestly, at this point, I've just seen absolutely nothing from them. I don't see them going into MSG and troubling the Rangers whatsoever. Man, Dougie Hamilton, I don't know. I'm just baffled by him. The guy was a -4 last night. He looked brutal. He's not setting an example for these younger guys. There's no leadership there. There's a reason he's been on 4 teams in his career already, right?
Yeah,
you don't just you don't just let good players go very often. It happens. It's not always a comment on the player, but for 3 organizations are ready to sort of let him walk or let him leave. That's kind of that's not nothing. There's something to that. That stuff matters, right? And I think you're kind of seeing that here in the first round. Your most experienced defenseman, your highest paid player, and this is the return you're getting. I don't know. It's just not enough.
Yeah. I have some thoughts too, and just on the playoffs in general. I didn't get to see that game very much. Watch some of the highlights, so not going to try to just speak on what happened there. But is Jordan Mose asking, is Rob still putting? No, but returning from the putting. So thank you to everyone who tuned in there.
He's mentally recovering.
Yes. Moretto, has anyone told you that you and Austin Matthews
look alike? Yes, I've had that before, and it drives me insane. I've got some friends who know how to really push my buttons, and that's kind of where they go to.
Okay, the thoughts that I want to get to here, and then we can kind of transition from that Devils game a little bit into the Leafs game here. Todd bringing up officials tossing everyone in the Devils game and
Yeah.
preventing us from seeing fights. This seems to be a theme to me in like the Eastern Conference in general, because I seen in the Leafs game last night too, and it's mind-boggling to see this happen because on one hand we sit there and we talk about, hey, in the playoffs you got to be tough, you got to be strong, you got to be heavy, you got to be willing to fight and get in scrums and be physical. And then it's like through the first 4 games in the Western Conference, we've pretty much seen that. It's been like a bloodbath out there in some of the games and some of the series. And then you go to like Toronto, New Jersey. I've seen it in those two particularly, where it's like anytime there's any type of animosity, gone. And it's like, what are we doing? It's playoff hockey. Like, let the kids play. What happened last night? Because I looked back at what happened because I saw you and Todd tweeting about it, but this isn't playoff hockey. Why are we kicking guys out like with just a little jersey grab in front of the net?
It wasn't even that. It was like a little, like, I think it was a delayed offside or it was an offside or something like that. And then like Meyer like just throws a little slash. Like nothing even happened. Like you could tell like he wanted to like go over and like maybe start a little something, a little scrum, but like nothing even ended up getting started. Fox came in, like nothing happened. The refs were in there so quick to separate it. And I was like, okay, well, like they diffuse this one, but like it's going to start heating up. Like we'll get some, some fireworks, and like at least the Devils are going to go down swinging here. Like I missed it's what the good old days were. You're losing big at home. Like you're going to go and send a message late in the game, right? And maybe that's like so, old school mentality, but like, again, I think that stuff's important and, over the course of a series. Anyway, so he goes in and nothing happens. The refs are like so quick to separate it. And then they toss him. Like they're gone. Nothing even happened. I was like, what? What's going on here? It was insane. I honestly, I've never seen anything like that. At least the Leafs game, like you got your scrums, you got your fights.
Yeah.
Like they're throwing guys out for like, not necessarily fighting, but like you get like your animosity after the whistles. This was like they were in there to separate it and diffuse the situation before it could escalate and still tossing them. It was insane.
Yeah. Well, it's the one thing I continue to stress. I say it all the time on my other show that I have, and I talk about it all the time. People will come in, if they're from other teams, they're like, oh, like it's because you're a Leafs fan, you're mad at the refs. I'm like, no, like I don't care. Like I will honestly, and I think like I'm never going to blame the refs in situations. I just hate NHL refereeing as like a fan of hockey. Like I just can't stand it. I'm watching all this stuff happen. I watched Fox in that one get the penalty for going and grabbing the guy. I watch even like last night, Sergachev comes in and like cross checks Lafferty in the hip after the whistle with like 3 minutes left, and they kick him out. I'm like, what are we doing?
I missed that.
Why?
I wasn't watching the end of that game. I had the Devils game on at that point. I think the Avs game was on.
But I'm just watching this stuff. I'm like, why? Why? Like I want playoff hockey, and I see this stuff going on. And it's just like it drives me nuts. And there's no like consistency with it either, because
that's
Fox
the thing that
could
drives
go in
me
there
insane.
and do that, and then the next shift a guy could go in and like punch someone in the back of the head, and then there's no penalty, and it's like, okay, well, I don't care if you don't call that one a penalty, but why'd you call the other one? I just need consistency. That's
the inconsistency is brutal. Like from one game to a next, from one series to a next, there's no standard of officiating that you can apply here. It's just like you never know what's going to happen, which is it makes betting this game fun too. Like one game you're getting like every like little stick infraction called. You got like 12 power plays, and then the next one you've got like 2 or 3. It's like, and they're letting everything go. There's just it's pretty brutal.
Well, I want to ask you quickly, because I've really struggled to like want to give opinions on it, because I feel like people are going to jump down my throat because I am like a Leafs fan on this. Should Nosek not have gotten something for that hit on Mark Stahl? Did you see the elbow that he had in that last game where he jumped across and like blindside elbowed him after the puck was gone?
I did. That was the puck. It was a bit of a different play in my opinion. It wasn't like people are comparing it to the bunting one, right? People are comparing it to the bunting one. Yeah, that's the one that was like happened in the corner. I saw the clip of it on Twitter.
Like a fine.
Maybe like a fine if that would make you feel better. Maybe a fine, like I guess. I don't know. Like I'm not saying you're upset like about it because of the Leafs situation, but like that's not a suspendable infraction in my opinion. Like you're not suspending the guy for that. Like the puck was there. It was, I don't know. I don't hate that. Did you see the hot mic situation after with Tkachuk and Lomberg and Nosek?
Yeah.
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 Can't really
Don't
say
really
much about it, but
yeah,
if you want to
yeah.
watch it, you can.
Yeah. Yeah. But in terms of like that Leafs game last night, Jeremy Collin saying great performance by So Money last night, leading the Leafs to victory. Yeah, I appreciate So Money. You know, I said last night we needed a leader in that game, whether it be a quiet leader like John Tavares on the ice or a quiet leader like So Money off the ice. Didn't matter. We needed a leader to help the Leafs win that game last night. Look, I don't have much thoughts on it. The only thing I will say to you is I kind of feel the same as after Monday, but almost the inverse, where it's like 7-2 does not matter. 7-2, 10-2, 22, 2-1 doesn't matter. The series is 1-1. That's it. Now go figure out if you can win a five game series.
I don't know if you're on Twitter last night. I think the series is done again, just like it was coming into the series. The Leafs had already, like, no one's given the Lightning a chance. Game 1 happens. Leafs are completely done now, and
no
then
Hedman, no Chernak. Like,
yeah, I mean, look,
to win that game, you need to win a
it
pig.
was important. Yeah, it was an important win for the Leafs. You know, like 7-2, 2-1, like you said, doesn't really matter, but it was a very important win for them. Obviously, Tampa came to Toronto and accomplished what they wanted. I'm not saying I'm not saying they laid down last night and just gave the game away, because that's obviously not at all what happened. They wanted to come in there and so. That's hey, maybe it is, but they came in there last night like they wanted to win the game. Obviously you want to go up 2-0, but like by winning game 1 you have the luxury of not rushing Cernak back, who had been battling stuff even before the series. So you have the luxury of not having to play Hedman, so like you're kind of in a position where, okay, like, I think it was the same with the Wild in game 2, where like you don't see Hartman playing, you see Gustafsson getting the rest after 2 overtimes. It was like questionable decisions, people are down their throats, but it's like, look, like you have to understand, like, this is a long series. It's not a series you're going to win in game 2. So, you know, even if you go up 2-0, it's not a series you're going to win in game 2, especially if you're like, hurting the long-term health of your 2 of your top defensemen. So, yeah, I mean, you have the ability to set those guys out. That's what they did. Would they have liked to win? Of course. Obviously they didn't. I think they're going back home and they're pretty happy about getting the split in Toronto. And I mean, kind of a poke the bear situation too, like that third period. That's the thing that to me is the big difference between these two teams, where you see like Tampa and how they came out in that third period last night, and we're like, all right, like this game's done. We're going to take runs at guys, we're going to start shit after every whistle, we're going to forecheck our asses off, hit the D every time we get a chance. Whereas like the Lightning were down to 4D in game 1 in the third period with Hedman and Cernak out, and like there's no forecheck. Like, how are you not like going 3 guys deep and just running guys not even running them, but at least like just hitting them every chance you get? They have like all day with the puck. Like, I mean, Perbix, is like coasting out of his zone to hit Colton for that pass. It was just the approach in that third period just like speaks to how different these two teams are. And I don't know, like I still think that nothing I've seen in the first 2 games suggests to me that this is any different than last year. Looks like it's just going to be another coin flip series with, Lightning having Vasilevsky, and like that's so I don't know. We'll see what happens.
No, I agree. I will say at least, and you want to talk about participation trophies, I'm about to give one. At least last night, the Leafs responded when Tampa did that to them. Like they didn't like turtle like we've seen completely in years past. Now that's not to say the makeup of the team as a whole or over 7 games is different. I actually more lean towards what you're saying in terms of it doesn't look too much different. But like at least in the third period, they were like, okay, we'll fight. Like Justin Hall got his wheels beaten off by Corey Perry, which was pathetic. But like he fought at least, like they were in there, they mixed it up, they responded that way. So I was like, okay, thank God that happened. But even from game 1, I agree with you in that perspective. I was like, hey, somebody like hit somebody, please do something. But
no, the Leafs showed a lot for sure in the third period. Like they answered the bell every time they needed to. Which is great to see. I just don't know why they didn't have that in them in game 1 in the third period.
Agreed. Daniel H here saying, who put the caffeine in the BioSteel and Avs room after the first last night? What happened there to come out for the Avs after the first period? I watched the last 10 minutes of the second and the third period in this game, and from what I watched, that they were just buzzing throughout the rest of that game. What happened? Was this more of a Kraken issue in your opinion? Was this actually the Avs turning it on and finally waking up in this series? What happened in that game last night?
I don't think the Avs looked like necessarily bad though. In game
No.
one, right? Like I thought they had a lot of chances. They played a generally a pretty good game. Grubauer just made the saves he needed to, and there were some bad defensive plays. And for Colorado, like even like the start of last night's game, like Devin Taves with just an awful pinch on the first goal that cost them. And yeah, they looked a lot better in the second and third for sure. Like they just came out flying. I mean, that's tough for teams like the Kraken where I saw it with they remind me so much of the Habs, like the Habs from like 2012 to 2017 kind of, where like they had good deep teams, and they had good team speed, and like your expected goal share is always very high, your underlying metrics are always very good, but you just lack those elite scorers, and like it's so hard to compete with the top teams like time in time out when you just don't have that reliable goal scoring. So like yeah, they're playing well, but then eventually you can have like a good first period like they had last night, and then it's just hard to keep that up when eventually you can't rely on those goals. You're going to have good stretches of play that don't really translate to anything. And like, that's kind of just a killer for a team. So it's hard to sustain that. I don't know if we're going to, see enough scoring for them in this series, but like they've shown that they can definitely compete. I just don't know that, they're going to be able to find like consistent enough scoring to actually win this series and pull off the upset.
Yeah. Yeah, that one was interesting because watching that first game between those two teams, it was like you said, like Colorado played well. They just kind of weren't having it convert for them, and then you have it all of a sudden start clicking last night. You're going to see a little bit of a different look. Connor Hardle saying over six deserve better in that game.
Yeah, I have over 36.5 goals in the series, and I was really rooting for an empty netter. I was like, just give me one more. Like everyone counts at this point. But hey, we got a 1-1 series at least. Like I think this can go 7. I mean, it'll be interesting to see. But I think that like Seattle's got the depth. Like they are able to win some of those matchups down the lineup because of the fact that they have so much depth, and the Avs don't necessarily have that right now.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily like they're getting much of that back throughout the remainder of the playoffs. Like it's not like you're sitting there with Landeskog in the rafters, flash the bat signal, and he's going to be coming in for game 3. Like he's out, and he ain't coming back. Todd, just throw that out there. The Devils deserve better. Brackets, they didn't. Sorry, Todd. I'm sorry.
The future is bright in New Jersey, though.
Yes, the future's bright. Well, I said to him in the group last night, I said, at least you guys can say you're learning lessons, and it like actually is fair. You're allowed to say that. Like if I have to hear that from anyone in Toronto at any point in the playoffs here, like head through the wall. You guys aren't seeing me again.
Well, Keith with we got a lot of respect in the handshake line last year. This year they can be like, hey, we got a lot of respect in the pre-series predictions. Everyone thought we were going to win. Like,
yeah, well, they were favored last year too. I thought too. It was a short favorite, but
yeah.
Okay, and final game from last night. I don't know if you have any thoughts. Personally, I don't really. But Winnipeg Vegas 5-2 win for the Golden Knights last night. What went on there?
Vegas looked so slow in the first game, and they looked so slow early on, and then it's like they flipped a switch. Like I can't explain it. I can't explain it. They just completely flipped. Like Stone needed to shake the rust off early and like slowly get his legs back, and then he did. That second Winnipeg
looked electric.
Goal, yes,
yeah,
he did. He looked electric. He would look like a completely different player. It was kind of similar to. It had to be a shaking the rust off situation. It was like I said that about Barzal. Barzal looked like in game 1 a guy who hadn't played in a long time, and that was the case, right? Game 2, he's as the game went on, he started to look a lot better. Yeah, that's essentially like Hellebuck played well early on too, but just Vegas flipped the switch and they were great, and that's a little bit concerning if you're a Jets fan.
Yeah, they just all of a sudden was like, oh, wow, these guys have life. They have energy. They can actually skate fast.
Yeah, they looked so slow before that.
Yeah, I was watching this game, and it was like these guys were in quicksand. Like, the entire Vegas team. And this, so you say, like, okay, Mark Stone, maybe he needed it. Yeah, maybe he did. But what the hell was the excuse for the rest of the team? Because it
Hmm.
was every guy in that first game just looked out of it, looked slow. And then last night, all of a sudden, started slow. I had that one on after, and then it was like Mark Stone all of a sudden started to pick it up and kind of drag guys into the fight. And it was like everyone else just elevated and the play picked up throughout the rest of the team. And all of a sudden, Vegas looked like they just had crazy jump in their legs. It was, yeah, I don't know. That was kind of where that was my takeaway from that game. That was the
Yeah.
main one.
Um, Braden McNabb on that second goal. Oh my God, that was so bad. That was, I don't know if you saw it. Just got blown by in the neutral zone and then like tried to pivot, fell. It was like, it was pretty brutal. And then I think it was Shea Theodore's D partner who like played the then 2-on-1 just brutally. He thought he had like support from the forward, from the center, and he didn't. And he just left the guy wide open in front of the net. Awful. It was awful. But I thought that was like going to be a backbreaking goal because that tied the game after Vegas had just taken the lead. So like credit to them
Oh,
for responding the way they did in
yeah.
that third period.
Yeah, I know what goal you're talking about now. Yeah, I was trying to remember because the order of the goals. All right, let's get to tonight's games. Break these down, previews, predictions. We'll run through tomorrow's games as well. Best bets if we have any in any of these games. So let's start here with the Islanders Hurricanes game. Islanders obviously down 2-0, but as I say, it's not a series until somebody loses at home. So now going back to the island, Carolina up 2-0 in this one, winning each game 2-1, 4-3, couple one-goal games there. Look at this. The Islanders now favored at home, minus 112. Do they deserve to be favored at home in this situation after what we've seen out of these two teams through the first two games?
Yeah, is that so? That's 112 is what we're looking at right now. Is that like widely
Yes.
available?
112, 115. 115, I guess, is widely available.
Yeah, we
112
can
best
lock in
price.
115. We can lock in 112. That's fine.
Okay.
I'd go to like 120. I thought the Isles responded excellently in game two. Like, I mean, they couldn't really get the offense going in the game one. And Barzal looked a lot better, like I said, after shaking the rust off. They got the top lines going. 66% expected goal share at 5-on-5. They were the better team. It was kind of a snake bitten result. Like that. You see the Aho, now not like the Isles
Yes.
Aho, the own
Yes.
goal. I mean, geez. And then you got,
Swats it out of the air.
yeah. And like, just tough bounce for Sorokin, obviously. Then you have a goal that goes in off Sorokin's head. You have the missed high stick call before the overtime winner. Power plays were 6-0 for Carolina. Like everything broke right for the Canes, and they still barely won that game. So, like, honestly, I'd be a little concerned if I were a Canes fan. Kind of like what I've seen still from the Islanders in this series. Like everything I liked about them going in, I still like about them right now, even though they're down 2-0. I think that this could easily be a very different series. Both games at home, I like them to win. And then, I don't even mind there's like you can get like plus 580 on the Isles to win the series still. You can get plus 260 for plus 1.5. You can get plus 110 for plus 2.5 games. I think you win plus 2.5 pretty quickly. Like, I don't know. I think those are all good bets. Just depends on your sort of risk tolerance. But yeah, I think the Isles take both at home. And I mean, it wouldn't even stun me if they won 4 straight at this point. Like, not as like disrespect to the Canes. The Canes are still a very good team. But like, look, these have all been coin flip games, and you've got Sorokin in coin flip games. Things have just kind of bounced against them. They can just easily start bouncing their way, and this could be over, and the Isles can, win this pretty quickly. So I also would like seeing Isles Rangers in the second round would be just incredible. I don't know if like people would survive, but I would absolutely love that.
I would love that too. That would be pretty electric. But sorry, Todd. I'm not saying that because I want the Devils to lose. Just that would be electric. And Todd did jump in here at the beginning and say we're all Oilers and Islanders tonight. A few comments in the chat that were pretty funny, so we'll bring these up here. Todd says, "Is it a series if you lose both at home?" I think it is. I think it might be actually leaning towards back to no. But saying, "Are you a New York Islanders?" So money on the Islanders. You see here, Rusty Bill, our guy Russ from yesterday's show, Thursday show. We all could have had a better number if so money hadn't moved the market yesterday, shaking my head. Yeah. And then just to address this, Drew here saying, not sure if any MLB discussed, but just coming home. Drew, all these MLB questions you can ask on the Call to the Pen show. That'll be coming up at 12 a.m. or 12 p.m. 12 p.m. today on the Call to the Pen YouTube channel with John Legeza from The Athletic. He can answer all the questions that you have in terms of the MLB, in terms of road, home. So make sure to go check that show out for any MLB questions, bets, previews, insights that you may have. We appreciate you hanging out here for the NHL stuff, but if you're looking for MLB, make sure to head on over there for at 12 to get all that kind of insights. But yeah, so we'll lock in the minus 115 just to remind people. Line shopping, like we just did here, to find the widely available minus 115s, as you are seeing minus 120s, 124, 125s hanging around out there. The easiest way to improve as a sports bettor is by using multiple sports books and always getting the best odds. We recommend using an odds comparison tool like BetStamp to do so. BetStamp compares odds across every sports book for games, futures, and player props. Save time and money by checking BetStamp before you bet. Download the app today, iOS, Android, as well as on the web. And if you are looking to sign up for a new sportsbook account, please check out the offers available at betstamp.app/edgework or hit the link in the description. If you sign up through this link, it does help support the show, so please help support the show. And no worries, Drew. We're good. Just head on over to the MLB show after. That's the best place to get it. All right, next game here on the schedule for tonight, Boston, Florida. Now, game one, we heard that the Boston players were dealing with some kind of illness. Florida actually looked pretty good to me. I thought they came out with some jump. They came out with some fire, ready to go. A little bit maybe pissed off that they were as big of underdogs as they were considered to be by media and the markets. Boston gets the win in that game, and then you see them come out in game two, and right away Florida kind of says, all right, like, we're here to play, winning game two 6-3 in Boston there. One thing that is always going to be funny is Boston fans' reactions to things. They're very similar to, I guess, in Leafland, where it could be overreactions both ways, but Boston fans not happy about that loss. Now you see Florida here plus 137 at home. Moretto, is this a little bit disrespectful for Florida to be a dog at home here tonight after what we've seen out of them and the fact that they actually showed up and played pretty well through the first two games? Now plus 137. Well, like, what's going on there? Is this accurate? Why is this priced the way that it is?
Plus 137, and I don't think we're going to see Patrice Bergeron tonight, which is like, you start to wonder what's going on here, because after missing game one, you're like, okay, well, he's battling the flu bug. All right, fair. Then they come out and say it's an injury before game two, and he's not quite ready yet. Like, he's not quite ready. He made it seem like, okay, he's like almost there. We don't want to risk it. We're up 1-0. Like, we're in a comfortable spot. And now, like Jim Montgomery is saying yesterday, that like he hasn't talked to the medical and athletic trainers, which is to me always bullshit, because the communication that's going on, he's getting updates consistently, in my opinion. But he said he hadn't talked to the medical staff about where Bergeron's at as far as coming with them on the trip. Like, now you're talking about he might not even travel for game 3 and 4. So I don't know. We got to wait for an update there. But like,
did you see video of him skating?
No, I did not.
Okay, so I did. He was on the ice all alone, and he was laboring a bit. Like, he did not look very good. Yeah, and it was released last night, like late last night, the video came out of it. So that was the first indication to me that something was going on a little bit more than they were kind of even letting on from that, for even to that point, where it was like, okay, interesting. And then Mike Bromberg saying he didn't travel with them yesterday.
Yeah, so I mean, it doesn't sound like Bergeron's going to play. My lean would be Florida here. I'm not going to bet that though. Just don't quite like where it's at. I'm going to go back to the well and the under though. I think we can still get a minus 115 on under 6.5, which is what I played last game. Obviously, that was a loser last game, but like, didn't think it deserved to be a loser. The Bruins still didn't generate a ton offensively. The Panthers really outperformed their metrics. You know, I think Olmark, we can expect a little bit better from him. Like, things just sort of went off the rails in game two. It was 1-0 like midway through the game. And then all of a sudden, it ends 6-3, I think it was. You got a shorty, you have a power play goal, you have an empty net goal. And like, just the offense that was generated was not reflective of what the final score was. So I think we're still getting a good price on this under, which closed, a lot better than minus 115 under 6.5 last game. And, now we're back to this price again, even though it was bet down. I think that we'll see the Bruins play a more structured defensive sound game in Florida on the road here. Like this is a big one, this game 3. I think that'll be, reflective in how they kind of approach this. So yeah, I think 6.5 is just too many. I like another tight, low scoring game.
Yeah, I would agree. And Daniel H saying like unders even more as series go on deeper into them. I was kind of curious your thoughts on that take. Is just like as things, because even you mentioned like, okay, go play a tighter defensive game. Just as some of these series go on, is that something you've ever seen trend wise? Is that something maybe more of just like a feel where you see things tighten up and scores drop down? Have you noticed that at all?
I think it's more of a feel thing. And I think it's still like, in terms of like just you're not blindly betting under as the series go on. Everything is obviously price dependent, right? And like also team
Yeah.
dependent. Some teams don't want to get into these like tight defensive, games. Like, I mean, the Bruins, it suits them to not get into track meets, but like some teams are like, you know what, like if we want to win a game, let's turn this into a track meet and we have a better chance of winning this game if so. So
Yeah.
I think it's all, still like team and price dependent for sure.
Um, Todd also saying there may be something to it as there's a direct correlation between penalties reduced later in the series than earlier on. Yeah, that is something where we talked about games 1 through 4. You see traditionally it is significantly higher penalties called than it is 5 through 7. But all right, moving on. Next game here. I have a feeling I know which side you're going to be at least rooting for in this one.
Yeah,
Dallas,
rooting
Minnesota.
for sure.
Series now tied 1-1. Dallas wins the last game 7-3 over the Minnesota Wild. Beyond mind-boggling goalie decision. I get that you're going to sit there and say, well, he played double OT if you're the Dean Evison, but I can't make any sense of it. Like, what? How do you decide to go to Fleury in that situation when the guy sets franchise record for saves in a playoff game and basically saves you from what we saw through the first period and a half of overtime, where Dallas was just all over the Minnesota Wild, and then the Wild find a way to win, and a lot of that has to do with the way Gustafsson had played in net. You go with Fleury in the second game, guy lets up a 7 spot, comes out and says he was garbage after, but now Dallas going on the road to Minnesota, minus 107. We're seeing a legit coin flip here in the pricing of this game. Are you getting behind the Dallas Stars? Are you a Dallas hockey star tonight, Moretto, as Todd says?
I am in spirit. I'm not actually betting the Stars tonight, at least not right now. We'll see what happens later on in the day. There's just too much uncertainty to bet into right now. Like, is Eriksson Ek going to play? Is Hartman going to be back? I would expect Hartman to be back. I think it was a situation kind of like Tampa last night where like, hey, we guaranteed our split. That's why, and you talked about, that's why Hartman sat. So you talked about Gustafsson not starting game 2. Like puzzling decision for sure. But like, again, it's a long series. This guy just played 5 periods where like for the last 3, he was just getting absolutely bombarded. He's not used to a heavy workload. Like, this is a guy who played only 39 games during the regular season. Like, we talked about that, how they flip-flop so much between him and Fleury. He's going to play basically 2 games in one night and then, come back and play 2 nights later. And then you're going to play 2 nights later and then you're going to play 2 nights later, like over and over again. I think that you saw a chance to give him rest and they took it. I think that kind of makes sense. Like, I don't hate the decision. Fleury looked bad on a couple of the goals, but he also was kind of hung out to dry in a few of the goals too. So like, it's not all on him. Maybe it's a different game with Gustafsson and net. I'm not so sure. The Stars kind of dominated that. Like, the Stars started the series really bad. The first two periods of game 1, I was like, oh, like what have I done? And they've really turned it around since then. Like, third period, first overtime, second overtime, first 2 periods of game 2, like they were just dominant in all those periods. 65% expected goal share at 5-on-5. So it wasn't just the power play, even though the power play has been lights out too. So everything I've seen still makes me confident in the Stars. Like, I think their team speed is a bit much for the Wild and their depth can create a lot of mismatches down the lineup. But no, Pavelski, he didn't travel. Eriksson Ek, is he going to be back tonight? I think there's probably a greater than 50% chance he's back tonight. We'll see Gustafsson in net. Hartman's probably going to play. We don't know about any of this yet. So there's just too much to buy into, too much uncertainty to buy into right now. So I have nothing on it right now, but hopefully we get some good injury news for the Stars and we can get on them. Although I'm already like neck deep in Dallas right now. So let's just hope for the best.
Yeah, well, we are seeing here -107, -104, both those prices available on Pinnacle currently. So waiting on news in this one, injury news in there to make a decision on what side to jump on. I think I would probably end up on Dallas there as well. Otherwise, stay off. I think that would be how I would go about it. But
The other thing is
um,
Erickson act like if he comes back and he's like not 100%, he's going to be the guy they turn to obviously to match up with Hintz because Hintz has wrecked them so far. Like his speed, everything has just been the Wild haven't been able to contain it. So Erickson X going to be the guy that they're going to match up with him. If he's not at 100% and he's like labored a little bit, I mean, how are you going to keep up with Hintz? It's not going to be that effective. So I think they're really going to wait before like they actually deploy him. They want to make sure he's definitely ready. So maybe that lends to like him not playing tonight. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. And Connor in the chat saying if Marc-Andre Fleury is in net, Dallas first period, a look with him lacking some confidence after the game to start. I'm just gonna like I'm gonna give the Alex guarantee here and say Marc-Andre Fleury will not be in net tonight. There is there. I would be stunned. I would be stunned if he was in net tonight. There's no way. There's absolutely no way.
yeah, that's what I was just trying to. I was trying to see there, and then it looks like it says Gustafson, but then it's just not confirmed. Yeah, I couldn't imagine him going back
No.
in.
The only
I
reason
could
he didn't play
not
game
imagine.
two was they gave him some rest. Again, like we talked about it, they just gave him some rest after that big game one. Like they're 100% going back to him. Yeah, I would agree with that. I would probably
Okay,
lay it too.
last game for tonight. I mean, look, this is the series that is going to have many people on the Edgeworks show sweating for a little while, based on what we've seen through the first little bit. LA Kings, Edmonton Oilers. You see the Kings win for the first game 4-3. The Oilers come back, win the second game 4-3. Looking at here tonight, you go to LA. LA is priced as the underdog tonight, +135. Again, yet another home team priced as an underdog. Is this for you? Does this price make sense in this series here tonight in this game 3 situation? Kings +135.
No, not for me. I'm gonna wait. I like you can lock it in on the Kings. I like the Kings tonight. Maybe so money should tune out for a little bit. No, I like the Kings tonight. I still like the Oilers for the series, but I do like the Kings at home tonight. I personally, I haven't bet it yet. I want to wait to see if I can get a bit of a better price if the Oilers take some money. If I see the line starting to go the other way, then I'll get on the Kings quickly. But I think home ice is huge here. I think that being able to control the matchups, get to know out there against McDavid, if the Kopitar line can get their matchup. And I think this is a little bit too disrespectful. Like this is still a very good Kings team, a very
Yeah.
tough Kings team to play against. They have, they have the scoring like they haven't necessarily had in years past. They are a very structured team. They have the goaltending. Like I can't get behind this price. I just can't do it. I think this is just way too disrespectful for the Kings. Maybe I'm getting greedy, trying to like look for a little bit better, seeing if more Oilers money comes in, and maybe it won't. And the price will go away a bit. But like I'd bet this at +132. Like I like the Kings here. Like I can't get behind the Oilers being -150 in LA in game 3. Just not for me.
Yeah, it just feels long, and it's not to say the Oilers aren't going to win this game or maybe aren't the better team, but it's just like after what we saw in the first 2 games as well, it feels like LA is very much in this series. Like
Yeah.
this isn't what. Look, I mean, we came into this one saying a lot of people saying Edmonton going to win, Edmonton go to the Cup Finals, and I think that that's a fair prediction, but. So money. You know what else is huge? My love for our Oilers. But like you and I had talked about it ahead of the series in that last year the Kings gave LA a tough series or the Kings gave the Oilers a tough series and LA was up 3-2. The Oilers win the final 2 games of that series, going to 7 and then ultimately winning and moving on. Well, yeah, the Oilers got better, but so did the Kings. Like the Kings didn't stay stagnant and they also didn't get worse. Like this team got better. They got a better goaltending situation. They feels like they added more depth. They added a few guys at the deadline. Like they just became a better team. They also added experience to the young guys that they had last year. So they got better. And now looking at it, going back 1-1 to be +135, it just feels long. But
Yeah, and they
I
can
see.
also with these matchups, they have a pretty deep defensive core, and they can
Yeah.
now use that to shelter Dursey a little bit more, who he just looked so
rough.
bad in game
Yeah.
2, and he's a solid player. Like I couldn't believe that. So I think they can shelter him a little bit more, get Doughty out there for the matchups they want him in for, get the Gavrikov pairing some better matchups too. So yeah, I just being able to dictate who plays against who here. And when you have so many like players capable of matching up well and, slowing down these Oilers guys, I think that did I adjust for the mojo? I didn't adjust for the mojo. That's true. I didn't adjust for the mojo. So, maybe I need plus 140 or better to take the Kings now, just doing the quick mental math. But yeah, I think that this is a good spot for them. I think this is, and, getting this price, I think they win this game more often than the price suggests, which is basically what it comes down to. And Fiala, I don't know if Fiala is going to play in this series. I definitely don't expect him to play tonight based on everything that's been going on. Fiala is I hate saying this because obviously Fiala matters and he's a very gifted offensive player and he's had an incredible season, but that guy has been a net negative for his teams in the playoffs in his career. He has actively hurt his team with his irresponsible defensive hockey and not being able to produce offense like he has in the regular season. He's just not been a playoff player, so to speak. Obviously it would be nice to have him back, but yeah, I'm not scared off by the Kings in this series or in this game because Fiala's not playing basically.
All right. I also see here, by the way, for anybody else watching, Todd saying Adrian Kempe over 3.5 shots. That is our edge work prop guy, as well as Russ, who's getting in the mix now. I sent a screenshot to Russ and So Money last night. Russ had the over on Kyle Connor shots, and he was 5 over the total in the second period. So that was a good day for that one yesterday. But a few things here. In terms of Mike Bromberg asking, should I watch my Twitter feed for best bets for Saturday for tomorrow? Yes. Continue to watch your Twitter feed. Obviously, we're going to quickly run through some of these games, and maybe
we'll have a better two right now too.
Okay. Yeah. So we'll have a better two now, but in terms of just looking ahead for the group sending bets in, yeah, you can keep an eye out for that on the Edgework Twitter feed. We'll likely have some more stuff tomorrow morning come out. So let's go to tomorrow. We wrapped up here today. Looking at tomorrow, we already got lines out here, Moretto. Starting with Vegas, Winnipeg, 4 p.m. Interesting start time for that Western game, but Vegas, Winnipeg, 4 p.m. We're seeing a legit coin flip here in this one again. Minus 102, minus 104 if you shop around and get best prices available. What are your early thoughts on this game for tomorrow afternoon?
I am a Jet here. I am a Jet. I like the Jets. Give me minus 110, which is widely available. We can do that. Or hey, I don't hate if you're gonna give me minus 102. But I like the Jets. I think that they've still shown that they have the ability to be very competitive in this series, and they've still shown an ability to completely shut down Vegas for long stretches. Obviously, the desperation kind of kicked in game 2, and Vegas was able to turn that around. Couple huge shifts where they just sort of ran the Jets out of the building there. But ultimately, that doesn't change the handicap of this series as a whole. You're not going to completely throw everything out the window because of a good period and a half. I still like the Jets here. I think at home, the whiteout. Also, the whiteout outside, apparently they got 10 centimeters of snow yesterday or something like that.
Yeah,
so.
I was watching the stream of the video or the game last night, and at the end they back to Winnipeg where it's snowing. I was like, oh no.
Yeah, I'm like, oh man, imagine living there. That's too bad. Actually, one of my good friends lives in Winnipeg. I make fun of him all the time for that. Yeah, it's true. So yeah, I like the Jets tomorrow night. I like the Jets. Let's huge goaltending edge, obviously too. Brossoit back in his old stomping grounds where he was never a starting goalie. It's it's gonna be fun.
Laurent Brossoit. It's last year when we had who was the goalie in net last year for Colorado? He's still there with them right now.
Francouz.
Pavel Francouz. Yeah. I just love those names. Okay, so we locked that in. minus 102 in the Winnipeg Vegas game. Toronto on the road, game 3. I know you're going to have a heart attack when you see this pop up on the screen
I know the
here, but I'm
price. I
looking
know
at
the
this
price.
number right now. I'm seeing a plus 100 on Tampa as it stands right now. Obviously, that's not like the most widely available, but you're seeing numbers right in and around there, minus 103, minus 105. Is this mostly just because of the Hedman, Chernak news, Esamon still being out? Maybe we're going to see a banged up
Sorelli.
Jeannot after the fact. Sorelli banged up here as well. Is this overreaction to game 2? Like, what's going on leading to this price? And do you personally have a bet in this game?
I do not have. I don't see how you could make a bet uh, into this
Yeah.
game right now with all the injury uncertainty. So I definitely don't have a bet in this game as of this point. Like I think that you'll see at least one of Hedman and Cernak. I would lean to say maybe both, just based on the comments and trying to read between the lines. It sounds like neither. Like I think the Cernak situation was, like, let's get Bunting a nice suspension, and hey, this guy's hurt. This guy, like, I think that plays into it a little bit. And then Hedman, based on Cooper's comments, it sounded like he was okay. And it was more of a, like, he wasn't too concerned, whatever. Again, Cooper's like the king of gamesmanship. So you really
Yeah.
don't know exactly what is going on there. So it's just not something you want to bet into. Sorelli, I'm sure, is fine. There wasn't really much talk about that. So I don't think there's actually anything there. But he was pretty banged up after that accidental collision with Matthews. Esamon, he's not going to move the line, but is he going to play? Is Jeannot hurt? I don't know. We'll see. So, yeah, I think that if all those guys are in, if you see Hedman, Cernak, Sorelli, like, you'll see the line move significantly towards the Lightning. Obviously, I think that goes without saying. But, without those guys, I think that, we're going to see, like, the Leafs close probably like minus 125-ish. And do I agree with that? Not necessarily. Is it enough for me to be on Tampa with those guys out? Probably not. Definitely not. But if we see, Hedman, Cernak in, and you can get like a minus 115-ish on the Lightning, then that's something I'd be interested in.
Right. Yeah, I'm interested to see injury news tomorrow as well. I feel like if anybody were to come back of those guys, it would be most likely Hedman, first one to return of the group. Like, we did see him play in the game the other day. We did see him on the ice yesterday, and I don't know if Cooper like panics a little bit and says somebody has to go. I think it would be him to get the first tap to go out on the ice, but nonetheless interesting. And yeah, Cooper doesn't really let anybody know what's going on with the way he handles the media. I think it's funny. I like it. I don't really care. I see Leafs fans lose their minds over stuff like, why did he say this about our team? Like, shut up. Like, he doesn't care. He's doing this to get that reaction.
Cooper's the best, man. Cooper's the best.
I think it's funny.
That's my coach.
Well said from Austin Matthews and Moretto.
I'll turn my camera off for the rest of the shows.
Next game for tomorrow here. Thoughts on this one? Todd saying, "Are you a devil?" Devils plus 125. Oh God, in New York here. What's going on? Do the Devils have a shot at bouncing back in this game? Have you seen enough to say the Devils are dead? Wave the white flag. Is this price within range to play? What are your thoughts on this game?
I mean, if you're looking at the Rangers at minus 140, like before the series, just based on, all the numbers and everything, like, that would be insane.
Yeah.
But like, I think the Rangers win tomorrow. Not something I'm jumping on to bet right now, but like, again, it's hard to get there from like a numbers perspective. If you're trying to just get to like minus 140 for the Rangers, like, that's pretty difficult to do. You have to like weigh very heavily these last two games, as opposed to like a much larger sample size or all the full season numbers and whatnot. You're going to have to really manipulate things to get to this price. But like, just from objectively speaking, I think that it's almost a little bit short, and I think that the Rangers are.
Oh no!
I think what's the issue now? I feel bad. I don't know. I feel bad. I'm not trying to shit on the Devils. Like, I think that the future is. The future's bright. If you're like a Devils fan watching this, Todd, the Penguins are, on the decline. The Caps are on the decline. The Rangers are not going to be able to bring back everyone they have right now. Things are going to be, they're going to run that division for a while. So, that's one way to look at it, and that's kind of nice. But yeah, I think that this is just a defeated, broken team. Going back to MSG now, up 2-0. I think the Rangers just kind of end this pretty quickly.
Yeah. Insight saying Blackwood time. Would you go to Mackenzie Blackwood here if you're?
I don't think it matters. I don't think it's been a goaltending issue.
Yeah.
Not that the goaltending has been great, but like that's not why they're losing these games. So, yeah, I don't think it really matters. They could start me in net, and I don't think it's gonna hurt their chances any more than they. Well, I mean it would, but you know what I'm saying.
All right, next game. Oh, Schmid over Blackwood even. There you go. If it's Blackwood, I'll be a Ranger, Todd said. Okay, next and final game for tomorrow night to take a look at. Colorado going to Seattle. Seattle here plus 135 now as well. If you watch the series previews you talked about, I think it was both Matt and Alex B. Smith kind of saying like, hey, look for a price on Seattle in game 3 because that's the first game in Seattle, first playoff game in Seattle. Would you be kind of getting behind that narrative maybe a little bit and then seeing this number pop up plus 135? Does that help? Does that add in? Like how does that kind of build into all of this in terms of the numbers and what we've seen through the first 2 games for you if you're looking to bet on this game tomorrow?
Yeah, the first home game in Seattle is it's a very narrative-y sort of way to handicap this game. Like I'm sure there's something to that. It's probably going to be loud there. I like the fact that though, like just the fact that they're home in general. Not that it's their first home playoff game, but the fact that they're home, and again, that really is like conducive to them leaning into that depth and getting the matchups they want, and like sticking exactly who they would like to stick on that McKinnon line, and being able to free up some of their scoring lines for like they can get Beignet, Eberle, and McCann out there for easier matchups and like stick like Bjorkstrand and Gord and Tolvanen against maybe the McKinnon line, and they can sort of free up their guys that they need. So yeah, I just like the fact that they can control these matchups, and I think that I would love a little bit of a better price before I'm like going to just jump in here, but like I don't know that we'll necessarily get it. So 135 I would bet right now, but I'm personally going to wait and see. But like if we want to tune into the Edgework Twitter account tomorrow to see if that ends up being a best bet or not. Although the Jets will probably end up being my best bet, but like okay. I think we'll have someone on Seattle because I think that this is just a decent spot to back them. I still like the Avs in the series. I'm hoping that over 5.5, over 6 cashes just for the sake of my series bet, but I don't love that honestly. Like might even lean under at 6 just because of the fact that Seattle will be able to get the matchups they want and play that structured sort of defensive hockey and kind of keep Colorado at bay.
Right. Also, just to that note, I just thought about this. For anyone watching right now who follows along on the Edgework Twitter account, I'm not going to double track the Jets. What we tracked here today is what the tweet or what the price will be. But tomorrow morning when it comes out, we will tweet a good 2 price. And then just reference the fact that we did track this here today. So just heads up on that one. I don't want people like being like, oh, what happened here? That's what we're going to do. And I'll make sure that that's clear in the tweet that goes out tomorrow. But yeah, we're not going to double track at a new number tomorrow morning. We tracked it here today, put out the number and say good 2 tomorrow. So I want to clarify that. But all right, there you go. That is our full preview, recap, everything of what we saw last night, games tonight and leading into Saturday. As it is the last game of the week, last day of the week for games, we wanted to make sure that we kind of got a little bit of lead in for people so that even tomorrow you can kind of watch some of our thoughts on what is going to happen with games tomorrow night. So if you enjoyed the content here today, please make sure to like and subscribe here to the Edgework HQ YouTube channel. Let's just run through the picks here really quick. Looking at the day that we had yesterday, we go 2-1, so pretty good there. Winnipeg obviously loses on the plus 140 price, but we did have the over 6 in the Leafs game, and by the way, just pull that up, 14.3% COV against Pinnacle based on the price track there yesterday. That one cashes, as well as the Kyle Connor over 2.5 shots on goal finishes with 8 on the night. So big night from Kyle Connor to help us push over the line there and finish up 27% ROI. Looking at tonight's picks, let's start Carolina, New York Islanders. Islanders minus 115 there. Full unit on all of these, by the way. So Islanders minus 115 against the Hurricanes on the money line. Then we go to the Florida-Boston game. We're looking at the under 6.5 minus 115. So Boston, Florida, under 6.5 minus 115. Then we go LA, Edmonton. We're taking the Kings money line plus 135 tonight against the Oilers. That is plus 135 against the Oilers on the money line. And finally, we got the Winnipeg Jets for tomorrow, minus 102 against the Vegas Golden Knights. That is Winnipeg money line minus 102 against the Vegas Golden Knights. And for those watching right now, listening to it back later in the day, watching it back later in the day, So Money does say here, I doubt the Jets number will be available tomorrow. Winking face. Bet it now.
Hint, hint. Don't read the second part. Hint, hint.
Yes, I left that. Yes, bet it now. So, yes, if you're listening, and that number is even close to where it is right now, bet it now will not be available tomorrow. Thank you to everyone who tuned in here today. Very much appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe here to the Edgework HQ YouTube channel, as well as liking this stream. No reason to not like this stream as you go out. Full recap, picks for tonight, picks for tomorrow, previews for tomorrow. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Moretto, appreciate you taking the time, fill in for Rob here. Lazy guy getting all this sun and enjoying the weather out in Myrtle Beach, having beers and pork chops and playing mini putt. What a life this guy lives.
We couldn't let him destroy our Edgework ROI after he mentally collapsed yesterday. He's not in the state to give out bets right now.
No, he's not. After that all-time crumble, this guy was like on Spieth at the Masters. Fall apart. But thanks to everyone who tuned in. Hopefully you enjoyed the show here.
Also,
today.
We'll be doing a watch-along on Monday night for the Leafs game.
Yes, good point. Actually, yes. Hammer HQ YouTube channel, watch along for the Leafs Lightning game. You want to see me in potential complete misery, that will be the place to see it. And you want to see Moretto enjoying himself just laughing at me during it, that will be the place to go. Hammer HQ YouTube channel Monday night. So subscribe there as well, because that'll be where we will have that live watch along. But otherwise, Hammer or Edgework HQ Twitter account tomorrow morning. We'll tweet out our best bets for tomorrow during the day. And then Monday back here, 10:30 a.m. Eastern time for more picks and previews. We'll see you guys then. Enjoy your weekend. Good luck on your bets.